How could I have imagined that on my wedding day, because I supported Liu Like-yin's decision not to have children, I would choose to be sterilized for 30 years? Yet, at the company anniversary, a handsome young man appeared at the board meeting and blatantly asked me to cede the position of Deputy General Director. Only then did I learn that Liu Like-yin had a child 20 years ago. Amidst the shock like thunder in the clear sky, I angrily grabbed Liu as Yin and questioned her. Why? She just calmly replied. It was just an unexpected incident. We argued so fiercely that the sky shook. The elders and colleagues around me all advised me. Let's take a step. You two have overcome many hardships together for 30 years. Liu Nuyin still cares about you. Otherwise, I wouldn't always keep the child outside. My eyes turned red as I looked at Liu Like-yin. Even though she is over 50 years old, she still exudes delicate, youthful beauty. She cut her voice calmly and divided Lam T's branch company with him. From now on, you two don't need to see each other anymore. This is my biggest concession. Having said that, she raised her hand to sign the share transfer paper, a thin piece of paper with no name, no destiny, full of 22 years of resentment. I should have had an explanation for myself, but Liu Nuyin just glanced coldly at me, then looked at the board of directors who appointed Liu Zihao as vice president of Liu T Group. Whoever agrees, please raise your hand. I clenched my fists, no longer dreaming that she would think about our old friendship. I smiled slightly and said each word clearly. Let's divorce. As soon as the words finished, my eldest brother suddenly stood up and slapped me directly in the face. Liu Nuyin only has children because he understands things. How can you be so petty? Everyone around also offered advice. Liu Yin's face darkened. Deep fam, stop being impulsive. I wiped the corners of my eyes, smoothed my hair, and looked straight at Liu Like-yin. I'm not arbitrary. You're the one who betrayed our vow. Divorce. Liu Nuyin frowned slightly. We're over 50 now. I thought you wouldn't be calculating in detail and could sympathize with me. That year I only got drunk and made a mistake and didn't betray our feelings. Why do you have to be jealous of this? All these years I've lived properly and cared for you with all my heart. Is that still not enough? She blamed me for being narrow-minded. Her annoyed expression and just a simple sentence were like a sledgehammer, piercing my heart. I closed my eyes and tried to take a few deep breaths. 30 years ago, I accidentally saved Liu Nuyin from kidnappers in an abandoned building. We relied on each other and encouraged each other to successfully escape. From then on, she loved me. He also convinced Mr. Liu to help me finish my master's degree. At that time, I did not dare to approach her, because loving a princess is an arduous journey. I just want to make money in peace with my own strength. Later, Liu T was wrongly accused of drug smuggling. Old man Liu was arrested, and the whole family faced turmoil. I did not hesitate to resign to join Liu T. I used my body as bait to escape the hands of Liu T's enemies. When Liu Nuyin rushed in to save me, she saw my injuries, hugged me tightly, sobbed, and choked up repeatedly apologizing. But actually, they just insulted me and did nothing else. Finally, thanks to my recording, Mr. Liu was exonerated. Liu Nuyin also proposed to me. That night, she told me she didn't like children. I was even afraid of them, telling me not to have children. The next day, I got the infertility diagnosis and had sterilization surgery. When Liu's mother found out, she angrily scolded me for cheating and even pressed her hand against my neck, forcing Liu Like-yin to divorce me. In my heart, I hesitated many times, even discussing with Liu and Yin that I should give birth to a child. My parents really want to have grandchildren. I don't need to raise them. I can send them to my ancestral home. But Liu Nuyin held my hand, her eyes full of love. Deep fam, I don't want to fight. I don't want to see you suffer. Isn't it good for just the two of us to live together? I will always love you. I nodded, finally looking at her for a long time. If one day you can accept children, then we will have a child. Liu Nuyin agreed. Half a year after getting married, Liu's mother no longer forced me to take medicine, and Liu's father was no longer angry. They left the company to retire abroad. Liu Nuyin occasionally flies to visit them. I thought they were in the clear, but it turns out they already have a grandchild, a successor to Liu T. Every time Liu Nuyin flies abroad, it is to reunite with another family. I curled my lips slightly and finally spoke hoarsely. Liu Nuyin, can you separate impulsiveness from love? Do you think that's fair to me? Liu Nuyin looked at my calm expression, Her face wavered slightly. Deep fam, this is my fault. I just don't want you to suffer, nor do I want anyone to bother you. Tuhao was just an unexpected accident. Now my parents' wishes have been fulfilled. Lu Ti has an heir. If you agree to place him in your name, he will be your son. I laughed. It turns out my wife is so thoughtful. She was afraid that I would suffer, so she found someone to give birth to the child for me. Do I still have to thank you? Lu Nuyen was speechless and could not refute. At that time, Lu Zihao stepped up. Uncle Deep, there's no need to thank me. In the future, I just need you to treat my dad well. Looking at his proud expression, I smiled coldly. I held the document tightly in my hand and threw it straight at Lu Zihao's face. Lu Zihao groaned, held his head, and squatted down. Everyone around was panicking and quickly pulled General Manager Deep back. Don't get attached to children. He's still young and doesn't understand. Lu Nuyen quickly hugged Lu Tuhao, painfully examining his face. The metal on the document cover cut Lu Zihao's face. Blood from the wound flowed in a long, winding line. Lu Nuyen immediately got angry and glared at me. How can you act so cruelly? Having never given birth to a child, do you have no humanity? Kai Bok has never had the heart to touch Tuhao even once. Yet you act like that. Is there anything that Tuhao is not generous? As soon as the words came out, she was a bit stunned. Then the tone softened. Deep fam, that's not what I meant. I raised my hand to interrupt her. Lu Nuyen, divorce. Having finished speaking, I turned around and strode out of the meeting room. During a week on business trip, when I returned, the paparazzi sent me pictures and videos. A feeling of helplessness welled up in my heart. After the story was exposed, Lu Nuyen no longer hid it. The wife's parents are even more blatant, always bringing their beloved grandchild with them. Every day, the mother-in-law can send up to 800 videos recording every intimate moment with her precious grandchild. Her eldest grandson helped her down the stairs. Her eldest grandson cooked soup for her. The whole family of 4 walked together in the park. At a Western restaurant, Lu Nuyen smiled gently and chose clothes for Lu Zihao. The scene of trying on clothes was just an everyday thing, but it made my eyes sting. I carefully reviewed the paparazzi documents and then texted Lu like yin. Let's meet at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Right after that, Lu Nuyen sent me several long voice messages. Deep fam, I won't divorce. I told you, Tuhao was just an accident. The person I love will always be you. We have been husband and wife for 30 years. Can you tolerate me a little? Do you want me to become a heartless and meaningless person? I have discussed it with Kai Bok. He will move to the Lam Noyet villa and will not bother me anymore. Later, when we get older, Tuhao will also, I'll be filial to you. That day he was just too protective of his father. Kai Bok and I have both taught him. The day after tomorrow is my mother's birthday, and at that time Kai Bok will also come. I will tell him to apologize to you in front of everyone. Generous and good-natured. Can you stop being so picky? These past few days, tears have flowed dry in my heart. But when I heard Lu Nuyen say those calm words, my heart ached. I couldn't hold back anymore. Tears silently fell down the phone screen. I don't understand why she can be so calm. Why does she take this for granted? Has it become normal for a Fu Ba to take care of Chu Ba Kim, like eating, drinking, and going to the bathroom every day, Lu Nuyen? Finding me when I was drunk, she came and hugged me tightly, continuously kissing my tears. Deep fam, sorry, I really don't want you to get hurt. Sterilization is very painful, but you made me feel sad. In that vague moment, I seemed to go back 30 years ago, when the Lu family was about to go bankrupt. I raised my glass to the bank manager as he poured 10 glasses of white wine in front of me. That day, Lu Nuyen pulled me behind him and said, Director Kai, sorry, my husband can't drink alcohol. Director Kai immediately slammed the wine glass on the table. So if General Manager Lu looks down on me like that, then you guys should find someone else for this loan. I quickly stopped him, quickly smiled and said, Director Kai, don't be angry. Yin is just worried that if I get drunk, I will talk nonsense. It is my honor to drink with you. I pay you a glass of respect. Having said that, I picked up the glass of wine and drank it in one gulp. That day, Director Kai smiled faintly and filled 10 glasses of white wine, each worth 200,000. Mr. Deep, I've always kept my word. How much I can borrow depends on your ability. That day, I drank 10 glasses of white wine and successfully borrowed 2 million. That day, For Lu like Yin, I poured my heart out. That day, she also hugged me tightly and kissed my tears away. Deep fam, when we stabilize, I will never let you suffer again. The tears of that day and the tears of today blend together, leaving only a bitter taste. Nu Yin, I want to have a child. You can immediately go to surgery. I'm not afraid of pain. Thinking back to reality, Lu Nu Yin, when you wanted to have children, why didn't you tell me? Why don't you talk to me? The air suddenly froze, leaving only the sound of me gently breathing. I looked into Lu's eyes like Yin's, cold, without any temperature. I woke up. It turned out that the person who couldn't let go was me. 2 days later, the mother-in-law held a big birthday party. The first time I met Kai Bok, it was exactly like in the photo. He is highly educated, handsome, full of life. I look back at myself and have been busy for many years. He always wears a suit and trousers. His face is haggard. His eyes are full of wrinkles. He doesn't look like a rich gentleman at all. Kai Bok and Lu Zihao were chatting happily with their mother-in-law, making her smile brightly. I walked over, and my mother-in-law immediately signaled the housekeeper. Put those useless gifts in storage and give rewards to employees later. I looked at the gift box in my hand and gave it to the housekeeper. My mother-in-law had never taken it seriously. I always feel like I'm not a man and don't know how to please others. Lu Nu Yin let go of my hand and naturally walked next to Kai Bok. Are you tired from flying? She bent down to help him fix his shirt. Lu Zihao ran to hug his mother and cooed. Mom, there's a surprise today. Can you tell me now? Lu Nu Yin smiled gently and gently touched his son's forehead. The kid is so anxious. When will I learn to be calm like my father? Saying that, she pulled both father and son in front of me. Deep fam, this is my Kai Bok. My Kai Bok bowed to greet me. Brother Deep, Lu Zihao just returned home. If anything bothers you, I will take him to apologize. Having said that, he bowed to me again. Lu Nu Yin didn't say anything, just gently took his arm and gently kissed his cheek. A sudden cold feeling rolled from the bottom of my heart throughout my body. It turned out that this was the impulsiveness that Lu as Yin said. My Kai Bok smiled gently and looked at me. Brother Deep, Lu Zihao didn't have a mother around since he was little, so I couldn't help but pamper him. In the future, I hope you will be generous and forgive him. Having said that, he embarrassedly raised his hand to touch the medical record. In his helplessness was hidden the love of a father. Lu Nu Yin quickly grabbed my Kai Bok. You taught Tu Hao very well, both understanding and filial. Lu Zihao understood and immediately stepped forward. Uncle Deep, I'm sorry. Yesterday I was suddenly agitated and offended you. I hope you will forgive me. I'm just so sorry for my dad. From childhood to adulthood, every time I was sick or did my homework, only Dad was by my side. He's 80 years old, but he's still looked down upon by others. As he spoke, his voice became choked and his eyes gradually turned red. Lu Nu Yin heartbrokenly hugged him. Okay, it's all a bad mother. In the future, I will not let my children suffer anymore. I will always be by your side to take care of you. Looking at their family embracing each other so affectionately, I suddenly completely lost my mind. No longer dreaming of being able to mend our relationship with Lu Nu Yin like before. A moment later, Lu Nu Yin stood up straight, clapped his hands, and a few waiters walked in carrying trays covered with red silk. Lu Nu Yin stepped forward and lifted the red silk sheet. First, this is the certificate of ownership of Lam Noyet Villa. It has already been transferred to your name. Don't come back from now on. After speaking, she lifted the second red silk sheet. This is part of the shares of the Lam family subsidiary. I have signed the transfer agreement. You just need to sign it. She continued to unroll the third red silk, a thick row of precious jewels glittering brightly on the tray. I looked over and immediately recognized a limited edition watch that had been auctioned in Europe. That is the one that Lu Nu Yin bought before. It turns out this is a gift for my Kai Bok. I thought it was my wedding anniversary gift. Even though I no longer have any hope, my heart still aches. I always believed that she kept it in the safe to surprise me. I have thought many times. Thinking about the 30th wedding anniversary party when Lu Nu Yin put the watch on my wrist with loving eyes. Applause echoed throughout the hall. I even secretly asked the costume designer to make an outfit to match that watch. Lu Nu Yin smiled, took the watch, gently pulled up my Kai Bok sleeve, and put it on his wrist. My Kai Bok bowed his head and smiled fondly, like a gentle husband. Lu Nuyen gently kissed his cheek. Roaring applause rang out from all sides. My dream has come true, but with someone else. My tears fell. After a long while, Lu Nuyen raised her hand, and the applause gradually subsided. She nodded slightly to the lawyer. The lawyer walked onto the stage. Next, I would like to read an agreement on behalf of Ms. Lu Nuyen. Ms. Lu Nuyen will donate 40% of the shares of Lu T Group to Mr. Lu Tu Hao. From today, Mr. Lu Tu Hao will become the largest shareholder of Lu T. This agreement has been notarized and takes effect from today. Everyone around looked at Lu Nuyen in shock. My Kai Bok was also startled and spoke up. Nuyen, Tu Hao just graduated from college and still needs more training. Am I pampering him too much? Lu Nuyen patted his hand and reassured him. My son, if you don't pamper him, who will pamper him? These things will sooner or later be his, so it's better to let him shoulder the responsibility soon. Having finished speaking, she hugged my Kai Bok, pulling him into the crowd. As she passed me, she just calmly said one sentence. In the evening, you will go to receive guests with General Manager Lai. Kai Bok just arrived. I want to take him to meet a few people. Later he can take your place in socializing around. Everyone's eyes were filled with sarcastic laughter. My Kai Bok seemed to turn her head to look at me a bit. His eyes were both intimate and contemptuous. When Lu Nuyen found me, I was sitting in the car, drinking until I was drunk. She held a towel to wipe my face, her eyes filled with guilt. Don't be sad, deep fam. When everything is okay, I will take you on a trip to the North Pole to see the Northern Lights. After this, the company will be handed over to Tu Hao. We can go everywhere. You won't have to work hard anymore. I dried my tears, looked straight at Lu Nuyen, and asked one last time. Nuyen, is it okay to let them go abroad? I can give them money so they can live a prosperous life. Lu Nuyen's hand that was placed on my face suddenly stopped. Her body was also stiff. Deep fam, I always believe that you don't care about material things. Money, the company is not important. But why can't you accept Kai Bok and Tu Hao? Could it be that, as they said, I approached you not because of love, but because... I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. Suddenly looking at Lu Nuyen, a familiar voice rang out. Mom, Dad is looking for you everywhere. Why are you here? Why is Uncle Deep drinking so much? Lu Tu Hao walked over and calmly pulled Lu Nuyen out. Mom, I'm old. I can't take care of her. Mom, go take care of Dad. Uncle Deep will let me take care of it. So I'm bothering you. As soon as he got in the car, Lu Zihao stepped on the accelerator and drove away. Lu Nuyen also shouted something, but the car had already run 100 meters away. At an intersection, an old truck suddenly rushed forward. Lu Zihao flashed a sinister smile, suddenly turned the steering wheel, and the car grazed the wall and crashed straight into a tree. My head hit the car window hard, feeling dizzy. Lu Zihao's dark laugh rang out in his ear. Deep fam, you yourself are not reasonable. Don't blame me for being cruel. Blood flows from boredom. My eyes tried to shake my head to stay awake, because I didn't know what else this crazy guy wanted to do. Moments later, police sirens sounded. The ambulance arrived. Lu Nuyen and my Kai Bok rushed there in panic. My Kai Bok immediately hugged the unconscious Lu Tu Hao and cried bitterly. Lu Zihao tried to weakly open his eyes and spoke. Mom, don't blame Uncle Deep fam. I didn't expect him to take the steering wheel. Saying this, he completely lost consciousness. I was helped up by the medical staff, and I staggered to the side, coldly looking at everything. Is this the outstanding descendant of the Lu family? I don't know how long this farce will continue. Lu Nuyen immediately rolled her eyes angrily and slapped me straight in the face. Her face was cold, with an expression I had never seen before. You're such a cruel person, I really see through you. Lu Nuyen looked at me coldly. Each word she uttered was like 1,000 knives stabbing into my heart. Deep fam, you killed Tu Hao. The Lu family will not give you status or let you inherit the family business. He is the true heir of the Lu family. I looked at Lu Nuyen in surprise, looking at the three of them sitting close together in the ambulance. Lu Nuyen glanced at me with eyes full of disgust, and then slammed the door. The cold wind blew. I took out the prepared divorce agreement, sent it straight to Lu Nuyen's phone, and without hesitation, blocked the contact. Then I made a phone call. General Manager Lai, I accept the cooperation. Come pick me up. Lu Nuyen quickly found an expert to check Lu Zihao's health. Luckily, He only had a mild concussion and a lump, but nothing serious. Mai Kai Bok sat by the bed, tears in her eyes, caressing Lu Tu-hao's hair, heartbrokenly saying, "Mr. Deep couldn't accept this. I knew from the beginning. So I always listened to you, obediently took my child abroad, and waited. This year you suddenly said you wanted to take me back. I thought we could be together forever. But I didn't expect him to resent me so much. Really? Okay, I'll take my child and leave immediately to avoid making anyone angry. Nu Yen, I love you. I really want to be with you every day. But I can't help but worry about Tu-hao's safety. This time it was a car accident. Next time it might be drug addiction. Don't look for us in the future. Live well with Deep." Mai Kai Bok's sobbing sound rang in her ears. Lu Nu Yen suddenly remembered Deep Fam's cold and determined appearance. Before getting in the car, her heart couldn't help but panic. She took the car keys, ignored the calls from behind, stepped on the accelerator, and headed straight home. Today, seeing Tu-hao unconscious, I lost control again. Beating Deep Fam without even asking the reason for the accident in his mind, Lu Nu Yen showed Deep Fam's bloodstained face. His eyes looked at her indifferently, without any emotion. At some point she unconsciously exclaimed, kicked the car door hard, and ran into the villa. Over the years, thanks to Deep Fam's help, she no longer has to experience this anxiety. Back then, when work wasn't going well, she hid in her room. Deep Fam always gently hugged her, kissed her, and comforted her. On the way home, Lu Nu Yen suddenly realized that Lu Tu-hao had really affected the life between her and Deep Fam. At first, she was afraid that once she had a child, he would favor the child and be cold towards her. So she was worried and insecure. Who would have thought that he would push himself to this point? At night, she had to apologize to Deep Fam properly. If that doesn't work, then just follow his wishes and arrange for Mai Kai Bok and her father to live somewhere else. From now on they won't see each other again. Lu Nu Yen pushed open the bedroom door and immediately saw the wardrobe open, empty inside. She looked up and saw that the wedding photo placed on the bedside was no longer there. Her heart skipped a beat, and she hurried into the bathroom. Gray towels, toothbrushes placed next to each other, razors on shelves, all gone. Only remnants of makeup remain. For the first time, Lu Nu Yen felt scared. She trembled and took out her phone and discovered that 2 hours ago, Deep Fam had sent her a divorce agreement. My heart feels heavy and painful. She quickly dialed the phone, but a red exclamation mark appeared on the screen. Lu Nu Yen was impatient and dialed again, but on the other end of the line, only the operator's mechanical voice rang out. "Sorry, the number you dialed is currently busy." An hour later, Lu Nu Yen sat down on the sofa, absent-mindedly looking at the phone screen, in which there was only a divorce agreement with only 3 sentences. "If we are not compatible, we cannot give the Lu family an heir. I voluntarily leave empty-handed." Deep Fam left. He didn't take anything. He uses actions to stop all gossip. In the living room mirror, Lu and Yen's face full of depression and regret is reflected. She bowed her head, burying her face in her knees. It's been a long time since she felt so confused and lonely. That day, the whole company was filled with false rumors. Everyone just worries about asking for money. Some quit their jobs, some leave for other companies. Partners and friends also turned away one after another. Deep Fam himself went into the company with her, negotiating with each customer, even confronting her sworn enemy. That day, he was forced to get drunk. When he woke up, there were still tears in the corner of his eyes, but he still forced a smile and said, "It's okay, I got the evidence." He removed the tiny recording device hidden in his tie and handed it back to her. Thanks to that recording, her opponent was forced to bow her head, and her father was also exonerated. Thinking of this, Lu Nu Yen slapped herself twice. After the Lu family was revived, how did they treat Deep Fam? She forced him to live without children, taking away his right to be a father, and selfishly left him alone to bear the gossip. Her father wanted to use money to chase him away, belittling his low status, saying he could not continue the Lu family. Her mother everywhere insulted him for being a clingy woman, forcing him to take supplements every day. The shrill phone bell suddenly rang. Lu Nu Yen suddenly woke up and immediately refused the call. Then, the WeChat message rang out, which was a 60-second recording from Mai Kai Bok. Nu Yen, Tu-hao suddenly complained of a severe headache. Come and see. In the middle of the paragraph, Lu Zihao's voice was mixed in. Uncle Deep's father was probably just temporarily confused. He certainly didn't really want to harm me. Lu Nuyen listened to that dramatic recording and for the first time felt like she was truly possessed by a demon. That year, she got drunk in the intern office. Mai Kai Bok, just in time, went back to pick up the phone she had forgotten. He took care of her all night without doing anything. After that, he occasionally brought her soup and sometimes asked her about work, but never exceeded the limit. Sometimes, just standing a little closer, my face turned red, and then I quickly stepped back, looking at his simple eyes filled with admiration. For the first time, Lu Nuyen felt relieved and happy. For the first time, she became interested when she heard him excitedly talk about his dream of going to America to study. She used public funds to sponsor him for an MBA in America. Lu Nuyen had no other intention, simply enjoying that feeling. Just like that, the two occasionally texted and exchanged a bit, but nothing happened. On Mai Kai Bok's graduation day, he bought red wine, arranged a romantic dinner, and invited Lu Nuyen to celebrate with him. That day, for some reason, Lu Nuyen was a bit dizzy, felt agitated, and in the end, the two of them crossed the line. The next morning, Lu Nuyen was extremely regretful, but Mai Kai Bok calmly said that from now on he would not see her again. Last night was just a love dream that I wanted to fulfill. Lu Nuyen panicked and ran back to the country. Mai Kai Bok really didn't contact her again, as if she had disappeared from the world. Just when she thought it was all over, 3 months later, Lu Nuyen discovered she was pregnant. When she contacted her again, Mai Kai Bok was extremely happy, earnestly begged her to give birth to the child and promised to take care of it and absolutely not bother her family. Nuyen, in this world there is someone who shares the same bloodline with you. Isn't that good? Just mind your work. When you have free time, just come visit him a little. We won't bother you. At that moment, thinking of her parents, thinking of Lu T Group, Lu Nuyen wavered and agreed to give birth to the baby. Mai Kai Bok also pledged not to ask for status or bother her. He really kept his word and quietly raised the child in America. But the feeling is truly magical when looking at a child calling her mother, softly hugging her, kissing her. She kept coming back, even feeling that having a child was not bad. From now on, she can rest assured that she can take care of him, and she can enjoy her old age. Lu Nuyen tossed and turned all night, deciding to wait until Lu Zihao recovered. Then she would immediately send them away. Lu Nuyen took immediate action, revoking Lu Tu's shares. Hao got his car and villa back and packed everything up. When I return, I will decide further. This time, she will listen to him. She quickly handled everything, packed all the clothes Mai Kai Bok bought for herself, and threw them in the trash. Erase all traces of Lu Zihao in the house. After finishing cleaning, she suddenly remembered that Deep Pham once said he liked a house near the sea. Lu Nuyen pondered for a moment, then immediately called his secretary and bought a coastal villa. Then, relying on her memory, she bought all the clothes that Deep Pham used to wear, including his favorite flower pot in the house. If Deep Pham returns and finds the flowers withered, he will definitely be angry because she did not take good care of them. When Mai Kai Bok brought Lu Zihao to find Lu Nuyen, she was decorating the room with imported European furniture, soft light blue silk curtains, and happy wedding photos. Mai Kai Bok's eyes flashed with jealousy, but her voice still gently advised, Nuyen, a grown man, why do you follow the example of women who run away from home if they make the slightest move? What does he mean? After all, you are Lu T's CEO. How can you let him always threaten you with divorce? It's good to go, then the three of us can be together in good faith. From now on, don't let him step into Lu Ra's door again. A eunuch still dares to show off anymore. Lu Zihao was feeling proud when a book made a popping sound and hit him directly on the head. Lu Nuyen trembled. His lips and fingers trembled, pointing at Lu Tuhao. Who was the eunuch? Everyone underestimates Deep Pham, including her parents, his brothers, and herself. She was wrong. She shouldn't have let him accompany her in life, not have children, and then put all the responsibility on him. She is really too cowardly. Lu Like Yin's tears fell drop by drop, hitting the floor, creating a long streak of water. Lu Zihao held his head in disbelief. Look at my mother. Mom beat me. Mom beat me for being a useless person. What's wrong with me? Lu Nuyen coldly looked at Lu Tuhao. Is this your way of insulting your elders? Is this the education my mother has given you all these years? Lu Zihao stretched his neck stubbornly and said, Are you still saying something wrong? If it weren't for the Lu family's father, he would have died long ago. What merit did he have? Isn't he just sleeping with his mother a few times? An old man and still pretending to be dead. This type of person should have been thrown out to suffer. The Lu family raised him. He doesn't even know how to thank him. Lu Yan's face became increasingly unsightly. She couldn't believe that this was the child she loved so much. Cold, selfish, unreasonable. She slapped hard and said coldly, My Kai Bok, take your child back to America. I will transfer you 1 million living expenses at once. Don't come back from now on. Lu Ti is the career that Deep Fam and I built. I have no right to decide on 2 house shares. I have asked the lawyer to revoke it. My Kai Bok's face immediately changed. Her eyes widened as she looked at Lu like Yen. Tu Hao is a descendant of the Lu family. On what basis do you recover his shares? Over the years he has suffered so much pain and suffering. This is the compensation that a mother like you should give him. You cannot be so heartless and meaningless. Lu Nu Yen coldly looked at my Kai Bok's distorted face. Didn't he say before that he doesn't need anything? Just family reunion is the greatest happiness? So why doesn't he now beg you not to leave, but instead tries to fight for shares? My Kai Bok saw her face change, immediately red eyes, weakly said, Nu Yen, I only think about Tu Hao. I have no name, no position. It's okay to be insulted by people. But Tu Hao is the young master of the Lu family, the heir to the Lu Ti group. Are you cruel enough to let him wander outside, to be despised? Lu Zihao hugged my Kai Bok tightly, looking at Lu like Yen with contempt. If you have money, can you arbitrarily bully others? If you gave birth to me, you have to be responsible for me. You are not a dog or cat. If you want to chase me away, I will chase you away. If you are a descendant of the Lu family, then Lu Ti must belong to you. Grandpa gave Lu Ti to me. Why can't I give it back to you? Are you planning on leaving it to that old man? Today I'll say it frankly. If you don't hand over Lu Ti to me, in the future I give birth to a son. For every one born, I will strangle one to death. The Lu family just wait until the end. Lu Nuyen felt like her heart was stabbed by a knife. A sharp pain came. There has never been a moment in her life when she regretted giving birth to Lu Zihao so much. He is a thorough, cold, selfish, and arrogant animal. She really didn't understand what my Kai Bok had taught him over the years. Lu Nu Yen raised his hand and pointed straight at Lu Tu Hao, his face pale. You rebellious son, how can you say such impious and rebellious words? Lu Zihao squinted his eyes full of evil energy. Why don't you feel ashamed when you do what you do? And I can't say it out loud. Mom keeps a lover behind dad's back. Is it shameless and cowardly? The most selfish and cold person is Mom. She says she loves her husband, but she climbs into my dad's bed every day. Lu's head like Yen's exploded. Making a lover, playing with both hands. Is it talking about me? A lump rose in her throat, making it impossible for her to breathe. Finally, unable to hold it in anymore, she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The body slowly fell down. My Kai Bok stepped back in panic, covering her mouth in disgust. Lu Zihao stood next to him, his eyes full of contempt looking at Lu like Yen. Lu Nu Yen tried to reach for the phone, but Lu Tu Hao stepped on her hand, kicking the phone away. My Kai Bok regained his composure, his face showing hesitation, but then his eyes were determined. Tu Hao. Lu Zihao turned his head to look at my Kai Bok, then looked at Lu as Yen was dying. Once she dies, Lu Ti Group will be ours. From now on, there is no need to be patient anymore. My Kai Bok, her cold eyes looked at Lu like Yen. I've been holding back for more than 20 years. It's time to raise my head. Having said that, he sat down and looked at Lu and Yen with pity. To deal with women like you, I spend a lot of effort. Don't you like clean, handsome young men? These rich women just want to be secretive and don't want to take responsibility, right? Lu Nu Yen, you're the one who ended up on your own today. Lu Nu Yen looked at my Kai Bok in horror. Have you been lying to me all these years? My Kai Bok lightly brushed his sleeves and stood up straight. Lu Nu Yen, if it weren't for the fact that you had money and your husband decided not to have children, do you think I would have resigned myself to living quietly abroad? From beginning to end, what I only wanted was to rise up the class ladder. My child would be a famous general, a wealthy CEO, and I would be the emperor. You are a female CEO with hundreds of billions of money, but you are immersed in love and affection all day long. Don't you think it's funny? Go safely. In your next life, don't be so stupid again. Blood slowly flowed down from the corner of Lu Nuyen's mouth. She wanted to reach out to grab my Kai Bok and question her, but before she could raise her hand, Lu Zihao kicked her hard to the ground. When you get old, you die? Suddenly, there was a loud bang and the door was kicked open. Lu Nuyen forced himself to open his eyes and saw Deep Pham walking in from outside the door. The light behind him shined, making him look like an angel descending to earth. The man she loved so deeply was always so strong and proud. Lu Nuyen burst out laughing. Am I about to die? Even looking. It's good to see Deep Pham. It's also good, before I die, to see his shadow. Lu Nuyen slowly closed her eyes, a satisfied smile on her lips. When Lu Nuyen opened her eyes again, she discovered she was lying on a hospital bed. The sound of a heart rate monitor beeping in my ear rang out. She wanted to open her mouth to call someone, but her voice was weak, like a mosquito's cry. At that moment, the doctor walked in. General Manager Lu, don't move. You have an acute stroke, resulting in paralysis of half your body. He gently pressed her arm, breathing a sigh of relief. Fortunately, General Manager Deep brought you there in time. If we were a little slower, the gods wouldn't be able to save Lu like Yin. Eyes wide open, surprised, Lu Nuyen looked at the doctor. Were you not mistaken? Is General Director Deep Pham? Could it be that the person who saved you was really him? It turns out that before she fainted, she did not see an illusion of the man she worshipped, but he actually put on his halo to save her once again. Lu Nuyen burst into tears. Actually, I don't want to see Lu like Yin, the doctor said. She doesn't eat or drink. She keeps making trouble and wants to see me. I gently pushed the door open. Lu Nuyen has become much thinner and more emaciated than before. She is no longer the radiant middle-aged woman she once was. As if sensing something, she suddenly opened her eyes. When she saw me standing next to the bed, she was stunned, then an expression of extreme joy appeared on her face. Deep Pham, I came back to visit you. You know, I still care about you. Having said that, tears rolled down her eyes. She tried to raise her hand to wipe away her tears, but could only raise it halfway and then let it fall helplessly. I looked at Lu and Yin quietly. I'm not a saint, but I can't ignore her when she's on the brink of life and death. Her slap that year wiped out all 30 years of my love for her. 30 years of hardship, 30 years of brilliant youth. In the end, it was just a farce. I smirked. Lu Nuyen, you think you're having an affair, bringing your lover and illegitimate child to me, and you still expect me to still love you? Why did you give the company I worked so hard to build to your stepson, letting him humiliate me and trample on my heart and self-esteem? Yet you still have the face to say you love me? Lu Nuyen was confused, opened her mouth, and suddenly thought of something. Deep Pham, if you're always with me, then you probably know I've gotten my shares back, right? From now on, Lu Ti will leave it to you. Not anymore. Don't you like watching the sea? I bought a beachfront villa and decorated it in the style you love. And what's more, I've already transported all the floral clothes you like to the new house. Deep Pham, I know I was wrong. I'm so miserable. Think of our 30 years of friendship and give me another chance, okay? I smiled faintly. And where is your beloved son? What about your little lover? Do you have the heart to leave them? Lu Nuyen's face immediately changed. Don't mention that bastard. He is truly an animal. From beginning to end, the only plan was to usurp Lu Ti's assets. As for Lu Zihao, that bad boy, when I get better, I will definitely not forgive him. Dare to assassinate your biological mother to win Lu Ti. I smirked. It turns out that Lu like Yin doesn't love anyone. The person she loves the most is still herself. Otherwise, how could the mouth and mouth change like that? Just a few days ago, there was one treasure and two good sons. I don't want to waste any more time with her. Lu like Yin, I'm not interested in Lu Ti, even less interested in a disabled person. Currently, I have cooperated with Lai Ti, taking on the position of Deputy General in charge of new energy development at Vinhua. Mr. Lai was much more generous than her, directly giving me an annual salary of 1 million, plus 10% of the shares. Don't bother me in the future. I'm very busy and don't have time to worry about the Lu family's trivial matters. Having finished speaking, I threw her the document I had just received from the private investigator. Lu Nu-yin trembled as she took it. Her face immediately turned pale. No way. How is that possible? I'm cold. My Kai Bok confessed everything at the police station. That year, he only tricked her into taking medicine, making her think something had happened to him. In fact, the two have never had any relationship at all. He bribed the doctor to implant his and his lover's embryos into her womb. Lu Zihao was not her biological child. It was the child of him and his lover during the time she was not in America. They lived together very lovingly. Lu Nu-yin trembled more intensely. No way, no way. Fraud beast. I must kill him. Looking at her going crazy, I kindly rang the bell to call the nurse, then turned and left the room. 11 months later, I was monitoring the research and development progress at the Vien Hoa site when I received news about Lu Nu-yin. After being discharged from the hospital, she sent my Kai Bok to prison for an 18-year sentence. Lu Zihao was also sentenced to 6 years, and she is now in a wheelchair, completely losing the ability to manage Lu T. I heard she doesn't care about the company anymore. Hiding in the villa all day, facing old photos. If there's nothing to do, he gets drunk, hugs the photos, and sleeps. My wife's parents came to me and begged me to come back and visit Lu like Yin. I looked at them coldly. General Lu, Mrs. Lu, although I'm not as rich as you two, I still don't want to spend the rest of my life serving a useless person. Please find someone else. I'm not a heartless person. It's just that year, when she and her lover were cuddling, they treated me as an unrelated person. If so, why should I be soft-hearted? If you respect me 1 foot, I respect you 1 foot. A year later, the Vien Hoa project made a profit, and I was much more relieved. I went to the orphanage to adopt a little girl. During the past year, Lu Nu-yin never appeared in front of me. Perhaps she knows she has become a disabled person, no longer worthy of me. Or maybe she felt ashamed and didn't dare open her mouth to beg me to come back. I heard that Lu Nu-yin was hospitalized again and was not going to survive. I'm not visiting. A week later, I received a large sum of money. I calmly accepted it without any concern, without any message. This is what I deserve. I brought my daughter to Lam T to settle. From then on, life was peaceful and secure. Old stories and old people no longer appear in dreams.